What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back to my career. This is guide number 2. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about attributes. You may or may not know that in this year's version of 2K, you are capped on your attributes. It's about as high as they can go. So if you look, I made a 6'3" point guard. And you can see that my standing three-pointer is capped at 80. At least that's what it looks like. And like some other things, like, for example, ball control is at 85, and so on and so forth. Your size apparently does matter, so you can't cheese and make a 7-foot small forward who can dribble between his legs all day. So you might want to watch out for that when you're making your player, although I don't think really it's going to matter that much. But I also want to talk about what attributes you should go for early in your career. From my play so far, it seems that dribbling around people is very difficult. You're not going to turn the ball over necessarily, but you're not going to be just blowing past defenders and getting mismatches and creating switches and all that stuff. And even the pick and roll is not the greatest. You're not always going to be able to get that pick, even if you set it multiple times during a possession. The other thing that's a little bit different is your jump shot. I noticed that even when you spend as many points as I have in jump shooter, which I normally don't even do, your jumper doesn't really go in that much. So like right now I have a 69, even after I've upgraded 10 to level 10. So you can imagine I started it down at probably below 60, like a 59 when I first started my character. Jump shot doesn't go in that much. If you're covered, forget about it. If you're open and inside of 15 feet or so, you'll probably make it. But everything outside of 20 feet, not so much. So the jumper, really not as good. It's going to be harder. So normally I would put most of my points in defense, but again, in this year's game, the defensive, controls are a lot better. You're able to slide around picks easier, stay with the man a little bit easier. Guys aren't going to really be blowing by you, and even if they do, you can recover. Normally I would put 3/4 of my points into defender right away, just because I'm a point guard, but I think this applies to really all positions. I think your skill as a defender matters more on your control with the sticks than it does with your actual numbers. Steals they happen a lot. And all you really have to do is kind of bump your man as he drives to the basket. You're not going to be reaching anyways. If you reach, you're not playing very well. So you're not going to get a lot of straight rips anyways, but their steals are going to happen just because if you play good defense, you're going to bump people or rip people in the post when you double team. So what's up, Merc? Playmaker. Again, I never put points in rebounder. I think this year is same as always. You can get rebounds with skill. You don't need very rarely will you just drop the ball because you don't have a box out skill, and very rarely will people just rip you and run around you even though you have a 25 box out. If you box out properly, you're probably going to box out and you're probably going to get the rebound. Playmaker, again, I think passing is mostly a function of skill as well, although I do put points in this because of ball control. You don't want to just like drop the ball every time you try to dribble in the lane, so you need a few points in here so you don't just get ripped all the time. I think 75 to 80 is pretty good, and then you could probably stop until you fill up the other things. I also put points into inside scorer because I like to drive to the hoop, and you don't always get a dunk. This one is probably good for big men. Maybe you're not taking as many jump shots, so you might flip-flop these two if you're a big man. And then I think everybody needs points in athlete, at least halfway, just because you need to be able to change directions and catch people from behind with turbo. I maybe a couple more points in athlete than what I have because of you know, you might want to raise your contact dunk or your driving dunk or your speed, but for the most part, leading to about level 10 athlete is probably good enough, at least initially. And so those are your attributes. I also want to talk about badges. I think badges are more important than attributes, actually. If I had to pick between, for example, dimer and you know, a passing stat, I'd pick to spend my VC on dimer. Same thing here. If I wanted to, you know, cross somebody over, I'm not going to put my points into ball control. I'm going to put it into killer crossover. And how do you get these badges? Well, you just do the thing that you would think would get you the badge. So like dimer, just pass a lot. Hesitation stunner, just use the hesitation move a lot. Killer crossover, just use the crossover. Pick and roll, spin kingpin, pickpocket, just get a lot of steals. You know what? Here's one that you would want to upgrade. So I'm just going to upgrade this one now. Instead of upgrading your defense, it's better to have a gold pickpocket badge. All right. And that's kind of the same as in last year's game as well. Badge is a little bit more important than the other ones, the other attributes. Let's see. Oh, there's one other thing attribute wise. On your off days, you can go into practice. You see this next in the practice mode. You can see there's a bar there. It says next attribute upgrade. If you fill that bar, you raise your maximum levels. So instead of level 20, you know, for each attribute category, you can get to level 21, which will raise the maximum you could say you're going to get for the athlete or jump shooter. So if you're not happy with your guy's maximum attributes, you might want to do a lot of practices to raise your attribute maximums. What's the best position? I don't have an opinion on that. You should play the position that you are most comfortable with. I like to play point guard because I like to control the action. One more thing, as of today, since it is October 1st, and this is guide number 2. A little extra VC coming your way today. If you hit up your phone, you'll notice that, and you hit up your either iOS or you'll notice that the 2K app 2K16 app, my NBA2k16. Go search for it. You'll notice that it is now available, and I just confirmed today that it is working. You can get about probably 1,500 VC a day from that for basically nothing. So that's another way to get a little bit extra VC without playing. You know, do it on the bus, do it on the car on the way to work if you're not driving. Or if you are driving, no, don't do that shit if you're driving. And that'll give you a little bit of extra VC. So that's the tips for the day. Guide number 2. Let's go ahead and get into some action. And I have to do this endorsement because if I don't, I lose it. Look at that college speaking appearance with Jackson Ellis, 500 VC. But I have to do this one, so I have to skip him. I've been doing mostly endorsements for VC as well. So just in the last 5 minutes, I just picked up, I don't know, I'd say about 2,000 VC for basically doing nothing. Now I'm at 5,000. So just pushing buttons in the off days is important. All right, let's play against Brooklyn.
It's the two.